Gabe asked a good question. You guys, I don't know if you watched the game, Mark, but Matt, what are your thoughts on Eric Gentry versus Mason Cobb battle for the other linebacker spot on the field with Easton Mascarenas Arnold?
Well, Mason Cobb got slightly injured in this game, and so like it's not going to affect his availability for August, but just in terms of in terms of who's operating at full strength right now and who seems to be tougher, more rugged in that position, I would give the edge to Eric Gentry. And we've talked about this, Tim. You've talked about it really, that if he can keep his weight up, and if he can, hold that bigger frame that he's established, that he could be a real force, because we know he has the length, the reach, being disruptive in the passing game, getting into passing lanes. We know he can do that. But if he can be a more rugged, tougher run stuffer, run defender, then he'll have a lot more of the complete package.
So here's my point on both of those guys. They both, Gentry was I believe a freshman All-American. Is that right? I can't remember, but he came in and then he played well when he was, but the thing with Eric is, he's had trouble staying healthy throughout the season. Part of that might be his size, possibly, but he hits, he hits hard. So, that's part of it. So maybe that he's put on some weight. He still continues to struggle with it, but he continues to put on weight. And then with Mason Cobb was an all Big 12 performer, and I'm not going to sit here and judge his play last year because we talked about it. The scheme, possibly the coaching, something was just not right about our linebackers last year. And I'm not going to put it on the players. I'm really excited. I've watched, he was the one that made a couple of big plays last year to salt games away. So, and getting up field, he's really good. I think he's really good about getting into the backfield. I'm not as happy about him and coverage, but other than that, let's see what he does. I would hold judgment on both these guys. Well, we've seen what Gentry could do. I think Gentry just is a physical freak. We know what he can do at the top of his game. But with Mason Cobb, he played great for Oklahoma State. I want to see him get a real shot with being coached up by Coach Entz and Dantlin's system. I really am interested to see what that looks like.
I don't pretend to be an expert on either one, but certainly I remember all the big plays that Gentry made 2 years ago, as you guys mentioned. And then Mason Cobb, I certainly saw him play a lot. He was very prominent in that Oklahoma State team that came within like an inch of going to the college football playoff in 2021. And to me, they seem like, there's a comparison here and a battle for that spot. They seem to be somewhat different players for playing the same position, where Gentry is a very unique player. He's not, you don't come across many guys like him at that position. Now, the only downside is the microcosm of being a couple Utah plays in the Pac-12 championship game where he just ran into the wrong dude, running the wrong way with the wrong lean or momentum, and he just got squashed. But other than those couple occurrences during the season, boy, the athleticism, the range, he plays like a small forward out there. Just guys can't throw around him. They can't get around him. He's reaching out, grabbing dudes by the shoulder and throwing them down. Just a rangy guy. And then Mason Cobb's more of a functional, standard, just very productive, technique-driven linebacker from my observation of the two.
And I think he's going to get both of them are going to play a lot better and being able to play aggressive and downhill in this defense. I think like you said with Mark, with Mason Cobb, when you were bracketing him right with him underneath, you got a safety over the top and trying to make that throw that window. It's gonna be and with the way our corners are playing, the windows are getting smaller. And so I think that having him, they talked about when there's gonna be times where they're gonna pull the nickel off and they're gonna throw in a Sam linebacker. Well, then I don't think you're seeing all three of them on the field, right? You probably bring the other one in, and we will see the combination of all three of them. So I again, like a lot of people got on, I didn't, but a lot of people were all over the linebackers individually, and what you have to remember is that defense was just a mess. So, guys didn't know where to line up even. So to get on individual players, I think you should reserve judgment until you actually see them playing this year. Thank you so much, Gary. This is Gary from Dana Point for the $10 super sticker. Thank you, Gary. Again, talking about supporters of the show. Definitely one of the top supporters of the call-in show for sure. Look forward to your calls every week. And you're here every week as well. And then Slap Happy coming back at it again. I guess just shout out to Jeff Rodriguez, which is a good opportunity. It's your $5. You shout out who you want to shout out. I like Jeff's call. That's a good idea.
While we are putting a bow on those super stickers and super chats, I'll remind everyone that there are Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App options there in the description section down below. And of course, target those to the USC channel, the USC show, and just let me know if those come in. There's a certain effect there that's packs a little more punch through Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App. However, if you leave some kind of question or message, of course, that's not going to be an automatic on the show deal, but we will answer those questions and comments on the next show.
Just really quickly, it says, I would have done it anyway. I just saw it. Gary, the short answer to this is I screwed up. I'm just started covering the team this year at SC in the Coliseum. And it was very laid out, very specific, and I just simply didn't read too well. If I get the press box credential, I'm allowed to be on the field until the game starts, and then I come down for like the last 3 or 4 or 5 minutes of the game. I screwed up for the season. I think I'm going to push for the on-field one so I could be there on the field, taking pictures, video, but also be a little closer to the action. Obviously you get a great view from the press box, but there's also something about being right there on the field, seeing a lot of the action, seeing a lot of the side situations going on the sidelines. So I think that's probably where I'm going to try to be during the season. So what was the atmosphere on the field during the game? I was up in the press box. My bad.
Russ, I believe from San Diego, regular caller for our call-in show. Yeah, we haven't talked about Greedy Vance, so let's do that. And I think that, hey, Greedy Vance, if he looked at the spring game, which I'm sure he did, although maybe it was on Pac-12 Network, so maybe Greedy Vance doesn't have Pac-12 Network. He wasn't able to watch, but I'm sure he got wind of what happened. Like Greedy Vance, Doug Belk, that looks like a good marriage to me, right? And we've spent a lot of time over the past few months saying, hey, Eric Henderson, as Aaron Donald's position coach. Like defensive linemen are going to want to flock to Los Angeles to play for Coach Henney. Woof, woof, dog work. Underrated story, though. If you're a defensive back, you want to play for Doug Belk. You like if you saw how disciplined and locked in these USC defensive backs were at the spring game, don't you want to play for Doug Belk? Don't you want to get that level of discipline? So Greedy Vance with Doug Belk in combination, like that's a really exciting combination for me at USC.
Yeah. Do you see him? It looks like, do you see him probably play some nickel depth, just looking at the fact that they lost Fagans? Might be the reason for the move. Obviously, he's a talented player in his own right. Do you see him fighting Matt for one of those corner positions? I'm really sold from what I saw, at least what I saw in the spring game with our corners. And then who knows when John Humphrey comes back, it's pretty tight in there, but maybe he might be moving his way into that nickel. I don't know. Again, that cornerback room is just something absolutely incredible. It just seems like it's getting better and better. And you called it. Having Doug Belk and Denton Lynn for that secondary is just going to pay dividends for people wanting to come and play in the secondary. Remember, Doug Belk is from the Saban trees of GA for Nick Saban, and Nick Saban is known for his secondary. Saban was a secondary guy, and he was there. And Saban said he was actively trying to recruit him to coach at Alabama at some point, and he had been turned down. So we are very lucky to have the coaching staff that we have right now.